Oh, how lovely.
Yeah, pond back there and the trees. Yeah, it's a good place to be. Is it? Are you in Traverse City?
I'm in Sutton's Bay, yeah, in my bedroom,
Oh,
but it was a really lovely day outside. I got to enjoy some of it, which was nice. It's nice that
oh,
you have Wi-Fi right there in your backyard.
yeah. It's the things right inside there, and so it talks to it just remotely.
That's awesome. What have
Yeah.
you been up to today?
Oh, wow. It was meetings day. It's my administrative day, so I'm chairman of the board for my medical group,
Mm-hmm.
IHA. We had our board meeting this
Are your
Saturday.
meetings virtual or in person?
Yeah, yeah,
Oops.
still virtual right now,
Yeah, my light.
and answered some patient questions and calls. Did some emails. Worked on some lots going on. So
Understandable. That it's been a blessing to have technology to probably do those meetings and have calls like this. So I'm
yeah,
grateful to have you join us, Dr. Breakey.
yeah.
And
Are people going to be joining right on here?
yeah, we've already got so not on Zoom. They're live with us right now. We've got two people joined us so far. So
Oh,
on
there we go.
Instagram Live, and I'll be able to send you the recap.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, will they be able to see on Instagram then? You somehow connected Zoom and Instagram?
Yes, I have it. I have it so they see both of us right now. Kind of like how if you're on gallery view, how you can see both of us.
Yeah,
They can see that as
yeah.
well.
Wow, you are tech savvy.
I'm trying. I had an app that I was trying to use and it didn't work, but I've set it up so it works pretty well.
Okay,
um,
you got it. Whatever you did.
yeah, it's fun. It's worked. Our last two calls we've had to do it this way too. So I was glad when I asked you to join us that you brought this up because it made me look into ways to figure out how to make it work.
Yes, you got it.
And thanks for
Yeah.
rescheduling with me too.
Oh, yeah.
How was your
Yeah.
event with PBL or PBNSG last Thursday?
That was great. Yeah. It's on YouTube now, the one that was thriving in a pandemic prone world.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when people come on, I can give you the connection for that if people are interested.
Yeah.
But they posted it, and it went very well. I think it's got over 900 views already on YouTube.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I can make sure to
Yeah.
to share it in our when I. So this is live, and then I'll post it so people can go back and watch it. Very similar to how they went back and watched yours,
Oh, okay.
which is
Are you
great.
recording us already?
Yeah, yeah, we're going. We're
Okay.
going. We started right at 6. um,
Oh, okay, good.
but yeah, so just letting people join. I know it usually takes a couple minutes to join, but again,
Sure.
the purpose of this is to create conversations that really normalize and promote talking about plant-based lifestyle. So thank you so much for joining us. We know you're an expert in this field, and I'm sure there'll be some questions later that you can answer for our viewers. But first, I
Sure.
had some questions for you.
All right.
So, I don't know if you probably had a second to look at those, but as we get started, I'd love it if you kind of would share your plant-based journey, how you got started,
Oh,
and
wow. It was March of 1977. I was a medical student at University of Michigan, and I read a book called Diet for a Small Planet by Frances Moore Lapay.
oh, I don't know that one.
Yeah, she was in her time ahead of the curve with respect to the ecology and the inefficiencies. World population was growing. We knew that we needed to feed the world. And she pointed out how inefficient it is to take and grow food and then feed it to animals and then eat the animals. And the yield on that was so much less as far as food use. And then on top of that, pollution, topsoil erosion, fresh water use, which have only increased exponentially since then. So she was ahead of her time.
Wow.
But inspired me to look into it. I also read a book called Animal Liberation by Peter Singer, where he talked about the abhorrent conditions on the factory farms.
And were you
Even
just
then,
naturally interested in these topics, or how did you start looking at these books?
I went into medicine to be in health, to learn about
To actually
taking
help
care
people, yeah.
of
Yeah.
and so also interested though in ecology and the health of the planet and care and treatment of all sentient beings. So those inspired me. But again, as a medical student, I knew that if I was going to die of protein malnutrition, I couldn't do it. So I started researching the health side too. And lo and behold, it was a triple win. It was not only better for the
Sure.
planet and the animals, but for us as well. So there were no downsides to it. And March of '77 was my last red meat, was a Whopper at Burger King. In August of that year was my last chicken at my brother's wedding, and then
Wow.
last seafood.
So you went pretty cold turkey-ish. It wasn't super hard for you?
Well, oh no, I mean those I guess that was incremental over that year.
Mm-hmm.
No, we thought you still needed animal protein, so
Sure.
dairy and eggs were still a part of my diet until 1985 when I read a book called The McDougall Plan by John
Dr.
McDougall.
McDougall. Yep.
And for the first time, a well-referenced kind of stated view of that it wasn't just about the meat, it was about all animal and processed foods that really was there. And then I met John McDougall. He's actually from here in Canton, just a couple miles from here.
That's one. How did you meet him?
I was working in urgent care, and this nurse is there, and we started talking about nutrition. She says, "Oh, I'm vegetarian too," and I said, "Wow, I have been for 8 years." And she said, "Well, my brother, John McDougall."
Oh, no way.
So she introduced me to his book. Just has sort of happenstance.
That's awesome.
Continue to read all his books and study as much as I could. I've been practicing lifestyle family medicine in Ann Arbor area for 35 years and helping folks to reverse diabetes, to prevent and change their lives, get off medications. And they really appreciate it, and I tell them that, hey, your eczema could often be reversed, or your diabetes is in the early stages.
What diet styles have you seen eczema show up the most with?
The main component for eczema is dairy.
Okay.
In fact, I myself had a bad case of dyshydrotic eczema when I was a kid. Every winter, my hands would peel and crack and get painful.
Mm-hmm.
Dermatologists just treated me with stronger and stronger steroids. But now, since I've been plant-based and got off dairy, it's gone.
Wow.
Again, from the side effects from the steroid creams, but that's an example of how autoimmune diseases, multiple sclerosis, asthma, Crohn's disease are often dramatically improved and sometimes even reversible with a whole food plant-based diet.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. And I do have some friends who have Crohn's, and they're usually told to avoid, vegetables and items that really in the long run would be really great for them to enjoy. So. Yeah. But I'm obviously not the medical professional. I'd send them to you or. But.
Yes. No, it's great, and people appreciate that because a lot of times they don't get that regular medical field is that sense of empowerment that they can take control of their health and not only move from absence of disease but to positive health and vitality. I'll be 65 this year, and I like to rollerblade and scuba dive and ski fast and do the things that are adventurous in life.
Sure.
And without my health, my ability to do that would not be nearly what I can do. So I love life.
Yeah.
I should treat everybody with great respect, and that is with healthy eating, some daily exercise, adequate sleep. It's all good things.
I love hearing that, and a lot of times I hear, well, my aches and pains are just a part of aging, or those type of things that have been normalized in our culture. But would you say that because of that lifestyle, you don't experience many aches and pains? And what is your?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no guarantees.
Right.
People can get things for anything. A whole food plant-based diet doesn't prevent everything,
Right.
but way more chance. Let's say way lower risk of getting things like osteoarthritis, muscle aches, increasing your vitality. The movie Game Changers is very good about
excellent.
that. Yeah, if people have not seen the documentary The Game Changers, it's on Netflix. And they talk about how animal protein is actually pro-inflammatory. The carnitine in meat, the choline in eggs, leads to trimethylamine oxide and pro-inflammation. You can improve your, like you say, what are often attributed to natural aging symptoms just by what you eat.
Yeah. And thankful for doctors like you and Dr. Khan and Pam Popper who are really honing in on educating and sharing that. There's going to be some cool changes, I think, in the future. And what a nice place to live too in Ann Arbor. You've got lots of awesome restaurant choices. I could always get great food at Juicy Kitchen, and I don't know if you've been there, but
Yeah, you've been here. We've got a lot of great choices, and restaurants that aren't veg or vegan at least have options because of that's what people want around here.
We're lucky for that. We're lucky for that up here in Traverse City. It's growing a lot. We're definitely a foodie town, and
yes.
Yeah, that's what we're going to start sharing on our page too, is local restaurants and stores that we can get really great options for plant-based food.
Yeah.
That's super nice. Speaking of food, do you have a favorite recipe that you are enjoying right now?
Oh, wow. First of all, I see recipes as guidelines. I like to invent things, and that's part of the fun of it. One of my favorites is a peanut cilantro stir fry. Now, it's not for everybody. Not everybody likes cilantro. It's sort of a genetic thing. Some people hate it. It tastes like soap or dirt. My wife's got a cousin like that. But for those who like cilantro, if you do, actually, you can leave it out. You can Google vegan peanut cilantro stir fry and see lots of recipes. What I would say, if they say put in oil, like sesame oil, just leave that out.
That's what I was going to ask you. My next question is if you enjoy oils
Yeah. And some of them say put in honey or sweetener. You don't need it.
That's a really interesting and good point. I mean, I'm starting to realize how much flavor the vegetables and fruits can add without the sweeteners.
Yeah. I found one on here. Let's see. Is there a way to share my screen?
You should be able to.
It says here, host disabled screen. Screen share.
Let me make sure you can do this. Try it now.
Oh, there we are.
Cool.
And let's see if I can find it here. Now, share. Can you see what's coming up now?
Not yet. Did you hit start share?
I thought I did.
I'm pretty sure.
Let's share your entire screen, and maybe that isn't going to work.
Well, everyone, well, some reason it should. I have it on there, so there it goes.
Is that working?
Oh, yes, it worked.
Can you see me seeing you?
I can see a lot of things, yes. Let's
see if this comes up now then. This is one that I just found online by one called Koivu Tree.
Sure.
Do you see that?
I do see that.
Yeah.
A cilantro peanut stir fry.
Koivu. And again, I would take this recipe and let's see if I can get this to. It is acting up because we're somehow sharing, but that's the one. If you go down and scroll down on that one, you'll be able to see it doesn't include oil, but it does have honey. I'll just leave that out. What I would do is also put some rice wine vinegar in this. It adds a tang to it.
Oh, that's a great comment. It's to the bottom of your screen. Yeah, perfect. That helped.
Yeah.
Rice wine vinegar, how much? Like a tablespoon, teaspoon?
Half a cup or so, yeah.
Half a cup?
Yeah. Like I say, these recipes are more like guidelines. You kind of learn to flavor it the way you want.
Yeah. And it makes it fun. You can try new things and experiment.
Yeah.
I was just talking with a woman today about how I did a home chef course, and then now since then I feel like I can experiment a lot more. which is fun.
Yes. Yes.
And make all different types. I'm resetting our setup. Make all different types of meals and experiment. And I love cilantro, so I'll definitely be trying that with cilantro.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great.
Use different vegetables too. Lots of broccoli, bell peppers, mushrooms, onions. Put the good ones in there, and then the sauce, which is made from peanut butter, soy sauce, some rice wine vinegar, and it just kind of, and cilantro, and it just bursts with flavor. You're going to love it.
Oh, I thought you said sausage at first, and I'm like, how does the peanut butter
No.
turn into sausage? Yeah. Oh, that sounds awesome.
Sauce.
Yeah, and the
Yes.
sauce. Yeah. Oh, that's funny. That was my mistake. Yeah, that sounds delicious. I haven't ever made a peanut stir fry, but I love to do stir fries, so I'll definitely have to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Add some crunchy peanuts too to it.
Do you chop them up?
Serve
Do you?
rice.
Yeah.
I just leave them whole.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are some people who don't recommend peanuts. What's your perspective? Because they say they're like a moldy nut.
Yeah, peanuts are actually a legume, and the small amount of mold or aflatoxin on there doesn't hurt anything for most for healthy people. So they are
Interesting.
higher in fat. So if you're trying to watch your weight, you do have to be careful not to do too much.
Sure.
But again, in this whole recipe of a large amount, they half or 3/4 cup or so will still be okay for you. It is a little different for people trying to actively lose weight or reverse disease. You have to be careful with the fattier plant foods like nuts, and especially the ones like peanut butter. Dr. Greger's new book, How Not to Diet, is a great reference for people looking to lose weight. And that's one of the points he makes when you grind foods, either in a smoothie or make them into nut butters. They're that much more quickly absorbed, bioavailable, and you want to eat the whole real food, wall off your calories if you're trying to lose weight. So
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, my biggest mistakes when I went plant-based 5 years ago was I just ate so many nuts and seeds, and I'm like, why am I not losing weight? You know, you do have to watch it.
That's right.
What is one of your biggest tips to anyone that is plant-based?
Well, I guess what I would say is have fun with it. A lot of people picture it as deprivation. As well, what do you mean I can no longer have ice cream sundaes and T-bone steaks? First of all, you still can if you want to. What you'll learn is that you stop wanting to. You gain a taste for as you explore and have fun finding new recipes with sweet potato quinoa, and all the flavors really come from the plant kingdom. So what at first seems like you're going to be missing becomes new adventures, because most people get stuck in a rut with like 6 meals or so, and it shakes up your plant world a little bit. So I guess my biggest tip would be have some fun, explore, go to recipe pages, find restaurants that cater to people that want to be both healthy and taste good, because there's this common myth that well, if you're plant-based, you must be sad and deprived. You must be spending lots of money because they're so expensive. And the exact opposite are true. People who are whole food plant-based experience in surveys actually experience more joy from food because you haven't blunted your taste buds with all that fat, salt, sugar, and heavy calorie foods.
Well, and then also, like you said, if it's the whole food, they're enjoying the color too. Like some of the foods are so beautiful, it makes you happy.
Yeah. And rice and beans and frozen vegetables and spices are among the least expensive foods, so you can eat cost effectively, tastefully, and healthfully. So I guess that's my biggest tip. Have fun.
That's an awesome tip. Similar to, I know, so we talked a little bit about your story, but was there anything that you wish you knew when you started, and if someone is just starting off, that you'd want them to know?
Well, again, I started back in 1977 when we thought that animal protein was necessary. And even today, that myth is so prevalent. In reality, health-wise, animal protein is a far inferior source of protein for humans. Just like if you had a racehorse and you were trying to win a horse race, you wouldn't feed him tuna fish and chicken and cheese and eggs. That's not horse food. You want your horse to be the best athlete he can be. So grains and oats and greens are the natural food that makes that horse grow and thrive. So I guess I was originally under those misconceptions that I still somehow needed to include some dairy, some eggs, and that couldn't be further from the truth. As you go into it, you can still, like I say, still eat whatever you want, and it's really not what you do now and then; it's what you do every day. So even if you want to eat for Thanksgiving, I choose not to, but that the health wise, it's really what you do on an ongoing basis, and so. Make it fun in that way too, by exploring variety and finding that you not only don't need the foods that you thought were essential for you, but they're actually holding you down. They slow you down, they increase your risk of chronic disease, and they rob you of vitality, especially as you age.
Yeah, and it's just, I think with that, it's just something that's not been educated on. Right? And not promoted and not, I would say there's been enough research forever on the benefits of this, but.
Oh yeah. Even in 1977, when I was there, the studies were out there that this was a healthy diet. And since then, as you say, it's overwhelming evidence now. There's no question among independent, unbiased experts that food plant-based diet is healthy for people of all ages and stages, pregnancy, kids, athletes, everybody, and as we learn more, we're seeing that it even goes beyond that. It's not only it's healthy and you can survive, it's what we best thrive on.
Sure.
Just like again, certain animals thrive on certain foods. We do best, like our closest primate cousins that are 98 to 100% plant-based.
And that's a lot to do with the breakdown of our foods and probably, a ton of the science behind that, which would be something interesting for those interested to check out. We got a muscle emoji for that one, and just people really agreeing with what you are saying, which is lovely. I do too, so it's fun to see others agree too. What are you currently learning and focusing on in your practice or in your life?
Yeah. In October, I went down with over 1,500 practitioners from all over the country to Orlando to the American College of Lifestyle Medicine annual conference.
Oh, wow.
Lifestyle medicine is really coming into its own. This is really a science of saying that, hey, 80% of chronic disease that I see every day in my office is almost entirely preventable and commonly much better managed and in many cases even reversible with a lifestyle approach. It's not just nutrition. That's really the cornerstone. If you're not eating right, it's hard to make up for it with exercise and other, but a combination of good eating, exercise, adequate sleep, social relations, managing stress can really add more to your life. And we just get one issue here. We just get one chance. This is not a rehearsal. So the chance or the ability to take those reins and enjoy life for all it has to offer by improving your lifestyle. So I continue to study and learn. Boy, there's more to learn every day, more studies coming out, more information on how to help my patients to make this leap. Because a big part of the challenge is you mentioned education, and that's the beginning. Right. People need to know this info. But then beyond that, there's another hurdle that says we have a society that commonly doesn't support this. In fact, the opposite. You've got media pushing fat, salt, sugar, animal, and processed foods on it. Those are essential. You've got well-intended relatives and friends saying, oh no, you're going to die of protein malnutrition or B12 deficiency. I heard this is going to make you sick. I'm sad for you. And you have to learn how to kind of help educate them. You have to understand that even well-intended doctors or nutritionists may not have kept up on the latest research and tell you, no, in order to help your Crohn's disease, don't eat nuts and seeds and vegetables. Eat lots of chicken. And you have to learn enough to be able to make it in a meat-based world.
And it seems like too, and keep learning. And I've noticed for my journey, it's helpful to do that repetition of learning. So when you come across, what you're going to come across, the mainstream promotion or friends' comments, you start to have that backbone of foundation of strength of what the truth is through endless studies and just personal testimonies, I guess. But
exactly.
Yeah. Are there certain resources or research studies that you would recommend our viewers to look at?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Get your pen ready.
Yep, it's ready. So I want to make sure to share it.
One of the best is just what you're doing here as a branch of PBNSG.
Yep.
So people go to PBNSG, that stands for Plant-Based Nutrition Support Group.org. Find this group that Paul Chatwin started right here in Southeast Michigan, is now spreading nationwide.
It's so wonderful.
All over the country. When he and I presented at a national conference last year, people are calling and saying, how do we get this going in our community?
I love that. No one usually thinks of Michigan as the fire starter for, I guess we did for automotive-ish, but for, health and wellness. And look at you guys changing it completely.
That's right. Over 7,300 members now, and number of small groups all over the state. Again, yours being one of the most active. So thank you for all you do there. And
sure.
The website gives options for talks, for the monthly, now virtual small group meetings that you can join in. Usually Paul or Lisa or I help host those.
That's so awesome.
Every month now, usually on a Thursday. Neil Barnard is coming next month. I think it's July 22nd.
I saw that, on the 22nd. That's wonderful.
So key national speakers, education, cooking classes, info. Again, helping you to make it or thrive in a society that's not real supportive. This group itself is helping many. The next is PCRM.org, which is Barnard's group. They have great recipes, resources, annual conference that this year is going to be virtual in August, mostly for healthcare professionals.
Sure.
And multiple resources and books. He wrote Reversing Diabetes and Nutrition in the Brain.
Didn't he write The Cheese Trap too?
Cheese Trap?
Yeah, that one was good. I've learned so much.
Yeah. So that's a great organization, and I've been part of that since Neil started about the same time I did in the 70s.
And how did you get involved with PBNSG? Is that just because you same circles or?
Oh yeah. No, back shortly after they started, Paul Chatwin heard about me because I've been in this Ann Arbor area. Joel and I actually both did the same medical school training in Inflex back at medical school.
Oh, no way.
We weren't in the same class, but we got to know each other quickly. So no, it's been a good.
It's an awesome community. I grew up in Grosse Pointe and was going to PBNSG before I moved up here. So it's fun to still connect with you guys and learn from you guys and do it up here as well. We had a question. Do you recommend any supplement?
Sorry, two more things just to mention for sure.
Yeah.
ForksOverKnives.com. Recipes, and you should watch the documentary Forks Over Knives, along with Game Changers, What the Health, Educate. Pick up Netflix and watch those. And what I can do is send you a copy of my 8 Keys for Health that has all these written out. I give it to all my
that'd be great.
To your group.
Would you care if I shared it with our group?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. And then lastly, the PPOD conference is coming virtual this year, July 24th, 26th. P-pod. You've got some of the best names in plant-based nutrition presenting at that 2-day conference, which will all be virtual now. So anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're fine. We had a question. Do you recommend any other supplements besides B12?
No, We do live in Michigan, and I guess the other possibility is vitamin D. It's not really a vitamin. It's formed from when sunlight hits us. But being where it's so cold and cloudy much of the year, um, especially folks with darker complexion, might want to take 1 or 2,000 units of vitamin D daily as an insurance policy. If you do get a lot of sun in the summer, it can be stored through the summer and then released in the winter. So it's
That's
one
so
that's
interesting. Yeah.
Sometimes
I don't think that's talked about enough about the storage. I never. Well, so I didn't. I was always had opportunities to be outside, and then I started working a remote desk or in the office desk job. And that winter was the first winter that I ever noticed some seasonal depression, and it was 100% probably related to I wasn't outside as much. And
yeah, that's right.
it didn't have that store, so
Yeah. You're right, though. Everybody, even people who eat meat after age 50, have a hard time absorbing B12. So everybody should just take 500 micrograms a day or 2,500 once a week. And that one is also easily stored, so you don't have to get it every day.
And I've read well, B12 is a bacteria in the soil, and I've formed by bacteria in the soil. And I've read even if people do eat animal products, their soil might not have that bacteria. Right?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. The animals don't make it, so unless they do get out and grazing and getting some of that, it may be not as prevalent there as people think.
Mm-hmm. This is just another interesting learning about the science is very, very interesting. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I know I only had you till 6:30. Is there any closing comments, remarks that you'd love to share with our community, and anything else?
I just remember fondly being up there for your meeting. It was maybe, I don't know, a year and a half ago or so. We were on a ski trip, and I stopped on the way back home in a highly engaged group of almost 100 people. Traverse City, an amazing potluck of all food, plant-based, oil-free foods. So I want to thank you for allowing me to speak at that event.
We were so grateful you could make it and stay there, and that was an amazing.
Yeah, and so we'll have to do it again back when real meetings are not just virtual anymore. To see when we're in the area and see when we can all get together again.
Yeah,
because it was fun, and I thank you. My daughter's boyfriend's from Sutton Bay.
Oh, no way! Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah. And Shane McDonald, I don't know if you know anybody up in Sutton's Bay area, but his parents still live there. I think his mom's a hairstylist, and so we got to get up and visit them sometime too. So
let us know, and maybe we can do. We're learning you can have outdoor gatherings, so maybe we could do some type of outdoor event presentation or something. I don't know. We two summers ago now, our first year, we had a potluck, and Paul Chatlin drove up for it, which was lovely, and that was down by the water. So I look forward to doing more of those in-person things. We actually had one other question, if you have time.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Curious about EPA and DHA and your opinion on supplementing that, what you focus on for our omegas.
Yeah, personally, I take 2 tablespoons of ground flaxseed every morning on my oatmeal. I put some steel cutouts and goji berries in the microwave while I do my shower. It cooks and steams there, and then I add ground flaxseed, turmeric, pumpkin pie spice, cinnamon, and whatever berries I've got. It's like dessert, but it's high in fiber.
I was like, why isn't that your favorite recipe? That sounds awesome.
I know. I try to have every day for breakfast. The omega-3s are prevalent in walnuts, brown flax, and chia. Now, what the questioner is mentioning, though, is that those some people have a hard time converting those short-chain omega-3s into the long-chain. And this is kind of controversial in the field. Many, like T. Colin Campbell and Dr. McDougall, feel that it's not an issue. You can make it for there if you're otherwise eating healthy. Dr. Furman's sort of the other end of that, who says that even if some people might be short on those, you should take a DHA EPA supplement to guarantee
So
that you've got enough.
it's interesting. I actually had this issue, and it would have been, I did this Nutri-Eval with Table Health in town, and Dr. Lyon recommended increasing my vitamin C and decreasing my omega-6 to help with that. Have you ever heard of that?
Well, I think that's a good point, that omega-6 competes with omega-3, and that's what to say you don't need supplements say, is that when you're not eating a lot of vegetable oils and refined oils, your omega-6 are not there out competing, and the omega-3 that you do get have a greater chance of converting to long chain, of having what. So I can see both sides of it.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, I don't worry about it. I eat the ground flaxseed. But if someone wants to take 250 milligrams of DHA EPA, which is derived from the algae, which is, by the way, where the fish get it. Don't get it from fish, middle fish, because they don't make it either. They eat the algae and also get contaminated with mercury and PCBs, and they have animal protein, cholesterol, saturated fat, no fiber. There's nothing good or nutritious about fish. So getting your omega-3s from that is like trying to get your vitamins from soda.
I need this to share with my family. Yeah.
So, but again, if someone wants to take, say, a modest dose of DHA EPA 250 3 times a week, I think there's little downside to that.
Well, my notice, if I do have an issue with that, usually I'll have drier skin, like the signs of omegas that I need to figure out my fats. So I feel like something that would also be helpful is being that body detective, right? And then seeing a doctor who can do Nutri-Eval tests to see how you're digesting things. Because I just limited omega-6s, and I increased my vitamin C, and I think that really helped my absorption, and I didn't have to add supplements. So it's just working with a professional like you, and
Yeah, in general, the main step is go with whole food plant-based eating, and then you don't have to worry much about nutrient deficiencies or other, because your body takes account of that. It absorbs the more or less iron or calcium depending how it needs. Copper and zinc are in relation to each other, and if you take a supplement of just one or the other, you can get deficient in the other. So by thinking that we're smarter than nature and we can put it in a pill, commonly do a disservice.
Wow.
Eat real food. Again, the only real exception, as we started out with that question, is B12, and that's just because we cleanse our food so well now and don't get the dirt like our ancestors did.
I love that, what you just said about. I'm going to replay it and post it, but that was beautiful. That was beautiful. That was,
One other thing I commonly tell people, just as a quick soundbite, is fiber in every bite.
Fiber in every bite.
When you think about it, there's sort of 4 categories of foods. There's animal and plant, and there's processed and unprocessed. And the processed animal foods like cheese and salami and bacon are the worst of the worst. The unprocessed animal foods, steak and eggs and glass of milk, still don't have fiber. They're still pro-inflammatory. They're still loaded with animal protein, which increases risk of cancer. The processed foods like white bread, Captain Crunch, pretzels, potato chips, and French fries are often full of fat, salt, sugar, and again, very low in fiber. And the whole food, plant-based, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and seeds, all have good fiber in them. So when you think about it, if you think fiber in every bite, that puts you up in that quadrant with the whole food, plant-based, and eliminates the other 3, because there's 0 fiber in animal foods.
And just to add one clarification to that, why do you love fiber? What is it about fiber that you want to see it in every bite?
Now you're going to get me started. We used to think fiber was just superfluous. It was just what was left over. And they taught us in physiology back in medical school that, that's what your body, it doesn't really matter. It's just what it pushes through. It does help you stay regular, so you need a little bit. We now know that fiber is of vital importance to nourish your microbiome.
Awesome.
You're not you. You are you and over 30 trillion microorganisms, mostly in your colon. And if you feed them right, they will grow in diversity and type, and they will support immune function. hormone balance. They will detoxify. They'll actually produce nutrients, including some B12 and others. They will nourish the colon through short-chain fatty acids, and these will then send a message to the brain that you've got satiety, therefore lowering the risk of obesity.
And that's interesting. It's a different type of satiety. It's not that stuffed, uncomfortable feeling, right? It's very different.
Yeah. Well, because these microorganisms are essential to your health, nature designed it that way, where if you eat just chicken and cheese and eggs and Pop-Tarts, this fiber-devoid goo shows up, which doesn't feed them well.
Yeah.
They don't form the butyric acid, short-chain fatty acids. It doesn't give the message to the brain that you've completed the cycle and nourished both you and your friendly flora.
Mm-hmm.
And the brain can do is then say, well, keep eating.
Mm-hmm.
And then for another serving of Big Mac and fries and fiber-devoid vanilla malts, and you're into this cycle of despair because you're not nourishing both you and tending your garden. You need
I love that.
need fiber in order to thrive. I was going to say the opposite is also true. If you don't feed them well, they do the opposite. They create inflammation. They form and they irritate your colon so that the cell junctions between them, called the gap junctions, open up. And then things can get through and go into the body and increase the risk of autoimmune disease and cancer. You are setting yourself up, and the optimal should be the dietary. This is the most widespread nutrient deficiency in our country.
Fiber.
Only % of Americans get the very minimum 30 grams a day of fiber.
Wow.
Which is what the FDA recommends.
1%?
3% get 30 grams. But you really should be getting 60 to 100 grams a day. This is what we see in populations. Wow. In the blue zones are living longest and doing best, free of chronic disease. And the only way to do that is to not only increase the fiber-filled foods, beans and whole grains especially, but to eliminate those calorie-laden and fiber-free foods like chicken, cheese, eggs, Pop-Tarts, and Captain Crunch.
Sure. Wow.
That's all. There's a lot more on the fiber story. Next time we can go into more detail if you want.
We could do a whole conversation on fiber and the gut brain the gut. I'm continuously amazed by what I'm learning about the gut. So just for my skin health, for mental clarity. Yeah. So the body is amazing.
Dr. Barnard's new book will cover that a lot too, because hormones formed in the gut also help improve brain chemistry and decrease the risk of depression, anxiety, various mental behavioral health disorders. They help hormone balance, decrease the risk of premenstrual syndrome. And,
that's interesting to think about. So, yeah. What is his new book called?
He's speaking on it.
On the 22nd?
I think it's Body and Balance. It's about your hormones. But if you go to pcrp.org and come to his PBNSG talk on the 22nd,
I'll be there.
He's going to have all the details. But yes, hormone balance is another key reason why we need whole food, plant-based eating to thrive.
There's no bad part about it, is there? It's awesome. We gotta yes, keep on going. The microbiomes are so fascinating. Thank you. They are so fascinating. I agree, Natalie. Yeah. Aw. Thank you so much. Oh, sorry?
Yeah, I want to thank your group too, your listeners, your folks who will listen to this on recording. This is again, people ask why I do this, and it's because every day I see people in my office on one track or another. They're either turning their lives around and getting off meds and thriving and enjoying time with their grandkids, or they're ending up in the hospital in the emergency room, can't walk because chronic pain and more meds. And I say, it just hurts me that people of all ages have an opportunity to be on that healthy path.
Yeah.
And spreading that word, helping people to understand that there is a better way. is what I do. Is what I love doing. So
Yeah, and
thanks for the opportunity.
of course, and what's interesting about that too is you never know when they're going to hear the right word or have the right experience. So just keep doing what you're doing, and we'll try to keep sharing. And I look forward to having you up here for an event if you come up. So shoot me a text or an email. It would be awesome.
That's right. We'll see you all on a virtual PPOD small group meeting, or the PBNSG small group meeting. Hopefully the PPOD meeting next month.
The conference?
Thank you all for coming tonight, and we will keep in touch.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
Okay.
Have a great
Thanks
night.
Again. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. That was awesome. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. This will be replayed, so go ahead and catch the replay. If you are just joining us, we just finished a great conversation with Dr. Breakey, and I'm going to be posting it soon, so go ahead and check it out. Really awesome content there, you guys. All right, we'll see you next time.